Hello, beloved souls. Today, we are going to reflect on a subject that touches every single one of us at some point in life. Trust. Trust is one of the most fundamental and powerful forces in our relationships. It is the invisible thread that binds families together, the foundation upon which friendships are built, and the sacred bond that holds marriages and partnerships steady. Without trust, relationships become fragile, communication breaks down, and love struggles to thrive. With trust, however, we find safety, strength, and deep connection. But what happens when that trust is tested? What happens when doubts creep in and we begin to suspect that someone close to us is secretly working against us or seeking to harm us in ways we cannot fully see? That fear, that nagging sense of betrayal, can be one of the most distressing experiences of human life. Today's message is a call to examine trust carefully, to understand how it can be nurtured, protected, and even repaired when broken. Trust as a fragile yet precious gift. Trust is a fragile thing, much like a delicate glass sculpture. It takes patience, care, and time to form. But once broken, it is very difficult to restore. When trust shatters, we often feel as if the ground beneath our feet has collapsed, leaving us unsteady and unsure where to step next. This is why protecting and safeguarding trust is so vital. We must begin by remembering that suspicion is sometimes more dangerous than betrayal itself. Our imagination can become our enemy. The human mind is powerful. It can create stories, doubts, and illusions that are not rooted in reality. In moments of uncertainty, we might begin to believe that those closest to us are hiding agendas, plotting against us, or seeking to undermine us. Yet more often than not, these thoughts are misinterpretations, exaggerations, or simple misunderstandings. The antidote to suspicion is open communication. Instead of holding our fears inside, we must speak them aloud in honesty. Share your concerns with those you love. Tell them about your doubts. Express your fears in a spirit of humility rather than accusation. Very often, what seemed like deception turns out to be a simple miscommunication. The role of change in trust. One of the great truths of life is that change is constant. People change, circumstances change, priorities evolve, and the dynamics of relationships often shift over time. This reality can be unsettling because when a loved one begins to change, we may perceive it as a withdrawal of love or a secretive turning away. Yet more often than not, the change is simply part of the natural process of growth and transformation. A friend who once spent hours with you may now be busy raising children or building a career. A partner who once focused heavily on shared interests may now develop new hobbies or goals. These changes are not necessarily signs of betrayal. They are signs of human growth. To protect trust, we must learn to embrace the inevitability of change. We must give our loved ones the freedom to evolve, just as we ourselves require that freedom. Boundaries as the guardrails of trust. While trust is essential, it cannot thrive without healthy boundaries. Every relationship needs them. Boundaries are not walls that divide us, but fences that clarify what is acceptable and what is not. They define the limits of respect, honesty, and behavior that preserve the safety of the relationship. Without boundaries, trust becomes vulnerable to misuse and misunderstanding. Boundaries are established not only through words, but also through consistent action. If you tell a friend that certain topics are painful and they continue to press on them, trust erodes. If a partner repeatedly dismisses your feelings, trust weakens. By setting boundaries and respecting those of others, we create a safe and defined environment where trust can flourish. Forgiveness as a path to restoration. It is important to remember that no human being is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone slips up. When a person close to us breaks our trust, we must carefully examine their intent. Was the act meant to cause harm, or was it a thoughtless mistake? Was the betrayal deliberate, or was it the result of weakness, fear, or immaturity? If the intent was not malicious, forgiveness can become a powerful tool. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or excusing harmful behavior. It means choosing to release bitterness and giving space for restoration. Forgiveness preserves trust by allowing the relationship to heal instead of remaining trapped in resentment, secrecy, and fear. Often, when someone withholds information or hides something from us, our first reaction is to believe they are being deceptive. But secrecy is not always rooted in betrayal. Many times, people hide things because they are afraid of the consequences of honesty. They fear judgment, rejection, or conflict. Their secrecy is more a reflection of fear than of disloyalty. When you encounter secrecy in your relationships, approach the situation with empathy. Ask yourself, what fear might be driving this behavior? Create a safe environment where honesty is welcomed rather than punished. By responding with compassion rather than anger, you open the door for transparency and deeper trust. The importance of self-reflection. There are times when the suspicion of betrayal arises not from the actions of others, but from within our own hearts. Human beings often project their inner insecurities onto the people around them. If you have been betrayed in the past, or if you struggle with low self-worth, you may find it easy to assume that others are secretly working against you, even when there is no evidence. This is why self-reflection is key. Ask yourself, am I interpreting this situation fairly? Am I seeing reality? Or am I projecting my fears? Trust requires discernment, and discernment requires us to examine our own inner struggles with honesty. Sometimes the betrayal we fear is not actually happening outside us, but is instead a reflection of our own wounded spirit. Seeking guidance and perspective. When trust feels shaken, it is wise to seek counsel. Speak with a trusted friend, a mentor, or a family member. Share your concerns openly and invite their perspective. An outsider's view can reveal insights you may be too close to see. What appears to you as betrayal may, in another's eyes, be a simple misunderstanding or a sign of change rather than disloyalty. In some cases, professional guidance is needed. Counselors, pastors, or therapists can help us explore the root causes of our distrust and give us tools to rebuild broken bonds. Seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but a step toward wisdom and healing. Healthy skepticism versus paranoia. It is important to understand the difference between healthy skepticism and unfounded paranoia. Healthy skepticism encourages careful observation and discernment. It asks questions, seeks clarity, and ensures that trust is placed wisely. Paranoia, however, creates stories without evidence, fosters constant suspicion, and erodes relationships from within. When you sense doubts rising, pause and ask yourself whether your concern is rooted in real evidence or in fear. Healthy skepticism protects trust. Paranoia destroys it. The balance between vigilance and peace. Protecting trust requires balance. On one hand, it is wise to remain vigilant, to pay attention to the health of your relationships, and to be alert when something feels off. On the other hand, too much vigilance can lead to paranoia and self-sabotage. If you constantly look for signs of betrayal, you may create distance where none existed, damaging the very relationships you wish to protect. The goal is vigilance without fear, awareness without obsession. By maintaining this balance, You protect your relationships while also protecting your peace of mind. The role of transparency. Trust thrives in an atmosphere of transparency. When you feel doubts, bring them into the light. Have the difficult conversation. Speak honestly, but also listen carefully. Transparency does not mean sharing every private thought or detail, but it does mean creating an environment where truth can flow freely without fear. If you suspect someone close to you is hiding something, invite them to talk. Express your concerns without confrontation. Say, I feel uneasy. Can we talk about this? Such openness creates the possibility for resolution and rebuilding trust. Trust is earned over time. It is important to remember that trust is not something to be given recklessly. It must be earned and nurtured over time. Consistency, honesty, and reliability build trust slowly, like bricks laid one upon another. Likewise, inconsistency, dishonesty, and neglect tear it down. When someone demonstrates through repeated action that they can be trusted, that trust deepens and solidifies. Trust is not automatic. It is the result of faithfulness proven through time. Self-care in seasons of doubt. When trust is challenged, it is easy to become consumed by worry. Fear can dominate our thoughts, rob us of sleep, and steal our peace. In these times, self-care becomes essential. Take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. Surround yourself with positive influences. Engage in activities that bring you joy and renewal. Rest when needed. The stronger and healthier you are within yourself, the better you will be able to face the complexities of trust. Self-care does not mean ignoring your relationships. It means strengthening yourself so that you can engage in them with clarity and wisdom. Trust is one of the most precious gifts we can give or receive. It is not invincible, but it is worth protecting with everything we have. When doubts rise, let us turn first to communication, then to empathy, then to forgiveness. Let us remember that change is inevitable, that boundaries are necessary, and that self-reflection is vital. Let us distinguish between healthy skepticism and unfounded paranoia. The fear of betrayal is a heavy burden, but it can be transformed into a pathway of deeper understanding if we handle it with care. By seeking guidance, practicing transparency, and nurturing trust patiently, we can keep our inner circles strong and unbreakable. So I leave you with this question. How will you protect the trust within your inner circle today? How will you nurture this fragile yet powerful gift? The answers you find may be the key to strengthening not only your relationships, but also your own heart.